Good evening. At this time, I'll call to order the York County Council agenda meeting December 22nd, 2022. Before we get started with any of the action items, do we have any motions?
I would like to move to suspend Robert's Rules of Order for the remainder of this special called meeting for the specific purpose of allowing non-present members to participate remotely or by phone.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. That way, it is available for any of the other individuals to participate. First action item, council to hold a public hearing and consider third reading of an ordinance amending chapter 153 of the York County Code of Ordinances to incorporate a revised capital improvement plan as Appendix B to the School Impact Fee Study and Capital Improvements Plan prepared for the Fort Mill School District by Tischler Bice, dated June 14, 2018, and revised September 7, 2022, to address updated capacity needs driven by residential growth, to provide for a public hearing, and to provide for other matters related thereto. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak against? If you will come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening. Michael Pruner, 841 Hollis Lakes Road, Rock Hill, South Carolina. In the spirit of the holidays, I will not present the 190 slides that I sent over to Karen today. I was also encouraged not to say anything that could come back and be held against me in future legal proceedings. I don't doubt the council's ability to make this change. I don't challenge the council's ability to make this change. What I do challenge is the ability to rewind the clock. So what I'm saying is that monies collected tomorrow morning, if this passes tonight, starting when county business opens at 8 a.m., going forward, can, should, and will be spent on what you vote on tonight. But rewinding the clock to say we can take monies that are legally challenged and are not in accordance to state impact fee law, which is why the change is being made tonight, and spend those monies is no different than robbing a bank. It's no different than playing Robin Hood. It is no different than robbing Peter to pay Paul. So tonight, the council has a choice. You can defer further action until the court rules on the declaratory judgment that the council has authorized outside legal counsel to file. You can ask for an expedited attorney general's opinion, which has not been asked for, or you can vote down the ordinance or postpone it. That's really the three choices. I'm not here to pick apart the study, not here to pick apart the updated study, but it's not just been said by myself. It's been said by council members, it's been said by county staff, it's even been said by staff of the Fort Mill School District. The 2018 study included bonded schools. I don't think anybody can debate that. So monies were collected under the incorrect study and ordinance. Those monies should be refunded. So far, out of the 288 pages that were delivered to my organization of people whose addresses had paid that fee, we've had a response of a little over 300 that would like to join an action on this. So again, a modification of the ordinance doesn't change that. One question I do have is where are the annual reports required by impact fee law and by the county ordinance that the council in 2018 approved and put forward? Where are the monitoring reports as required by state law by the school district on monies collected? In conclusion tonight, I just ask you to really think about this. Really think about, are we trading one for another? Are we trading one fee for another? Are we trading one court case for another? Are we trading good for bad? And I don't claim to be a perfect person. And I've had to right wrongs that I've made in the past. And I see part of this is righting a wrong and changing what's wasn't right to something that is right. And I think it's on the right path. I just don't think it's where it needs to be. That's really all I have to say this evening. I appreciate your time. And, you know, we want this settled like everyone else does. We're kind of tired of it. And I said that was all I was going to say. But when I open my folder, just one thing that really still gets me, and one thing that certain council members here that might have been on school boards in the past and brought this forward, is that it was said in the public hearing for this original impact fee that taxpayers in Fort Mill, businesses and residents, will see, and it's in writing, it's on page 23 of the Tischler Bice presentation, a savings of 21 to 54% on their tax bill. One of the items that was in that tax analysis as an example was the Hampton Inn Hotel, that in 2017 paid $65,253.30 in property taxes. And that if this fee was allowed, and if $30 million in this presentation was collected in that fee, then the mills would be reduced to 59 mills. I believe we collected a lot more money than that. They don't have it yet, but I believe we collected a lot more money. So if you make this decision tonight, can you tie that to that? Can you tell somebody that their vehicle tax is going to be cut in half? Can you tell the Hampton Inn Hotel that their is going to be cut in half? How about the apartments, the Greens at Fort Mill, from $39,000 to $20,000 in taxes? Okay? Haven't heard anybody mention any of this. This has kind of been a side note. Nobody said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But I don't think taxes have gone down a penny. I don't think they're going down a penny. I've never heard of taxes being cut. You know, Act 388 provided some tax relief, but, you know, and that probably wasn't the right thing to do. But if a personal residence on page 24 of the Tischler Bice presentation to council, if they paid $1,150 in 2017 taxes, if the impact fee amount was approved at $18,000, their tax bill would now be $590. Take that back to your constituents in Fort Mill. Ask them, has your property tax bill been cut in half? I don't think it has. I don't think there's any intention to do that. And if council's going to go forward with realigning these monies, no matter how it happens, whether it's for new projects, old projects, debt service, not debt service, whatever, I would like to see the promise of tax reduction held in this agreement and in this ordinance, period. It's only fair. That's the way it was sold. That's the way current homeowners got on board. That's the way it was backed. I think they should be held to that standard. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak against? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor?
Good evening. My name's Chuck Epps. I'm Superintendent of Fort Mill Schools. A little taller here. 631 Hamley House Lane in Fort Mill, 29715. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the council for your time and your efforts and your consideration for working with us to provide tax relief to all taxpayers in the Fort Mill School District from the burdens our rapid growth has placed on them, especially our business community, which shoulder the burden for school operations costs because of Act 388, along with the cost for the capital projects needed to support our growth. Your work, along with the work of the county and district staffs, will have a significant impact on our personal and commercial tax bases. We appreciate the collaboration and consistent dedication to achieving this goal together. The family atmosphere surrounding our district has remained a focus for our administration, teachers, and staff, regardless of our growth. Family means we care for all those we serve, from the youngest student to the resident with no children in the district. It is our mission to provide a high-quality education while playing an integral role in the community as a whole. We believe this adjustment to the impact fee is another example of our district working to be good stewards of the public trust. Again, we thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve our public in this way. And in the spirit of the Christmas season, I'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Christy Spears, 7102 Anchorage Lane. I'm the chairwoman of the Fort Mill School Board. I know we've been talking about this for the last couple months. Just a reminder that really what we're looking to do tonight is to amend the study as is permitted in the Act for the continuation of the next set of schools that are required. In your packet, you've got the numbers that will show the need for these additional schools. We, like the gentleman before me, are not here to debate the numbers, although we did show also where if we were to calculate it today, it would in fact be higher. So the number that we're collecting today is well below the maximum allowable if we were to calculate it now. Everything seems to have gone up significantly in the last 4 years. I won't go into the numbers because Ms. Lordo will cover some of that, but again, we've grown from 15,000 to over 18,000 students. There's no indication of it slowing down. In the last 10 years, we've built 8 to 10 schools, and all of the costs for those have been borne 100% on the backs of existing residents. This change to the Impact Fee Act allows that to be carried in part, a proportional share, by the new homes, just like impact fees do for all types of other infrastructure needs. And that's what we're looking forward to doing because we do want to continue to reduce taxes. Again, I won't steal the numbers thunder from Leanne. We have and we will be able to continue to reduce taxes. We're very excited about the ways that we've been able to cut taxes already, especially for businesses because of the Act 388 changes that put so much of the operations burden on them. So again, we thank you for your consideration. If you have questions when you deliberate, we'll certainly be happy to answer anything you might need to know.
Good evening. I'm Leanne Lordo, 579 Cranbourne Chase in Fort Mill. And I'm Associate Superintendent CFO for the Fort Mill School District. And as I shared with you before, I have been the one who has worked in detail with the plan and with the numbers, with the county as well as the consultant. A few things I would like to respond to tonight are some things that have been stated previously and through this process that we continue to want to clarify for your benefit and just for the benefit of the public. And I'll just reiterate, tonight is the second public hearing, so I believe that our study was made available for review in the last 2 weeks. One of the questions that has come up is related to the bonded debt, and one of the requirements of the South Carolina Impact Fee Law in the capital improvement plan is to identify all sources. It states all sources and levels of funding available. It's not intended to fully fund all of our school projects. Our plan clearly gives credits for not only the current debt outstanding, but the planned future debt that would have to supplement the impact fee collections to actually fully build those schools. Related to growth, yes, like all school districts in South Carolina and across the nation, we did experience less net growth. And what I mean by that is we saw new growth coming in during COVID, but we did have families who elected temporarily to withdraw and are returning now. So during the time when we originally had the study performed and you passed the original ordinance in July of 2018, we've grown from 15,200 students to 18,200 students as of this month. That's 3,000 students, that's 3 schools that we have experienced the equivalent growth in Fort Mill during that time. And related to that, we track the new permits daily from the county. We have seen single-family homes and multifamily home permits in total during that same period have been in excess of 3,500 permits. So that's not students, that's actual residents' permits during that same time since we originally started the process. In calendar year 2022, we've collected over 10 million in impact fees just this calendar year. I think that's evidence that the new home development is back, and it's back at a steady pace. Several comments have been made during the public hearings related to Catawba Ridge High School. Yes, Catawba Ridge High School was included in the original study as it is allowed by law. The high school was under construction during the time, and it opened in August of 2019. You passed the original ordinance in July of 2018. And I'll just reiterate that all of those paying the impact fees were afforded the credits for the debt related to Catawba Ridge High School. And even after that date, the final pending construction items were completed and invoices were actually paid on that high school until well into the spring of 2020. We have, a question came up at the public hearing 2 weeks ago, and then again tonight about the annual reports that are required by law. We have confirmed with the county that the annual reports were prepared as required. The 2019 report was filed March 2nd of 2020, and then subsequently the 2020 report was filed March of 2021, and the 2021 report was filed in March of 2022. So all requirements related to the annual reports were met by the county. And then lastly, I'm going to touch on, has been mentioned tonight, about tax relief. And I think I have determined tonight that we haven't done a very good job about bragging about tax relief that we have been able to provide to our taxpayers, not related to this, but because we felt like we had made some promises, and we tried to be very strategic with looking at options on tax relief. When our original 2018 referendum passed, we thought at that time that we may have to go as high as 128 mills to build these schools. We have been afforded the ability through increased assessed values during this time, through some refinancing of some current debt, through some use of general fund revenues where we did have tax revenues that came in over budget. Combining all that together, we have been able to provide our taxpayers some relief down to 72 mills. So we never reached 128, we reached a high of 118, but we are currently at 72 debt mills, and we're very proud of what we've done in that regard for our taxpayers. And we will do a better job of bragging about that to our community as well going forward. That concludes my comments tonight. I hope that this has helped for your benefit and for the benefit of the public. And like Dr. Epps and Ms. Spears, I just want to thank you for your support during this process and for your support going forward in the future. Thank you.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. I'm Joanne Walker. I'm a resident in Fort Mill, 519 Zachary Lane, Fort Mill 29708. I have three children in the school district. Thank you for having me. I'm here to speak on behalf of Fort Mill parents, to ask you to support our schools and to vote yes on this amendment. We moved here 6.5 years ago, and in that time, our schools have already been were capped out once and redistricted once. My children's elementary school is currently back at 95%, even with all the new school building that we've done in the last couple of years, and 95% capacity. And we have hundreds of new builds coming up in that actual neighborhood that are going to be opening up in the spring. We're going to be maxed out again very soon. We need these new schools to be built, and we need this amendment to be passed. There are many reasons people want to come to York County, and our schools are really one of the biggest of them. For me, that's what brought us here. We came because we had a quality education system, and with the promise that it was going to continue in that road and continue in the same way. Our school board does the best to keep that train on the track, and we really need your support to pass this so that we can continue keeping our class sizes small and keep getting the education that our schools have seen so far, and the level of education that we have seen. People the new bills that are coming, people are again coming for the schools. They also are aware of the fees that are being levied on the schools when they're coming here. So to me, it's simple. We're not asking for any new taxes to be levied. We're not asking for any increase in impact fee taxes or impact fees. We're not asking for anything like that. All we're asking is that you support the education system that we currently have and that we were promised when we moved here. To me, a no vote on this is essentially holding hostage our kids. And if it's to do that as an effort for political gains or to make a point about needing to slow the growth in our town, it's just not a good look. I really appreciate all of you who have voted yes on it thus far. It was indicated at the last reading that we're going to slow this, we're going to say no on this because we want to slow the growth. If y'all want to slow the growth, I would welcome that. I know many of us would welcome that. Slow the growth for a little bit, like catch up with the education, catch up with the schools, catch up with the infrastructure, that'd be great, but do that separately. That's not part of this. This is not, that has nothing to do with what we're asking for here. We really want to make sure that our kids are not being used as pawns and that we are able to keep the quality of education at the level it is. So thank you all so much, and I really hope that you will vote yes, again, for most of you, on this amendment, and that we will see some new builds coming up soon. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close public hearing. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Do we have a new motion?
Move that we go into executive session for the receipt of legal advice, specifically relating to action item number 1.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will go into executive session. We are out of executive session. No action was taken. Do we have any motions?
Yes. Motion to approve third reading of the ordinance with the following amendments. Amend the ordinance to provide an include the of attachment A and attachment B together with Exhibit A, and to add sunset provisioning as reflected in the amendment ordinance presented before council tonight, council packet attach 1F. To revise the amend Exhibit A to address, among other items, amend section 153.75 by correcting a reference to the ordinance 2818 to include its current fee impact fee, amend section 153.79 to provide for the current fee impact fee calculation, and all throughout by providing for a reference to the ordinance currently before council to allow for correct immunization of ordinance upon designation by the clerk to council as amended Exhibit A, to present before council packet amendment 1G, to provide attach A, setting forth the Fort Mill School District Public Education Facility Impact Fee Schedule as presented before council packet attachment 1H, and to provide amendment B to provide for, and to provide attachment B to provide for the current maximum allowable impact fee as if calculated on or about November 29th, 2002, as is presented before council packet amendment 1I.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I would ask for management to give their opinion on this and for the county treasurer to address the issue of how this impacts the debt millage.
This will directly reduce, and we have approximately $56 million of impact fees collected at this point, and not to try to figure in what will be collected in the future. That $56 million, when you look at what the debt payments will be on a 30-year note, and what the current value of the school district millage is, that's about a $7 million reduction. And so there's a direct reduction to every business and homeowner in that district. So it will have a direct reduction of the taxes. The funds will be used as they're required by law to reduce the amount borrowed. So this will absolutely unequivocally reduce the taxes to the businesses and residents of the Fort Mill School District.
Yeah. I do have one comment. Again, as we move forward tonight, as we've talked about before, you know, the overall impact of Act 388, it was a calling card for people to come here to an area which had quality schools. In essence, a field of dreams. The York County, we saw the increase as Act 388 was implemented with the number of people coming, and that will continue to happen when you have quality schools and low operating costs in regards to not implementing operating costs on residents. It makes a huge difference to bring in people to this area. As mentioned here, by passing this tonight, this will allow us to help to offset the cost of the upcoming schools that are coming, which will then give relief to both residents and businesses in the area. So again, I appreciate your time, and again, I will be supporting this tonight. Thank you.
Any other discussion? I will just add, in 2018, hundreds, I believe it was north of 500 individuals came to the McKelvey Center and asked the council to pass an impact fee. It passed nearly unanimously, and what the council, or at least what I'm trying to do tonight with my vote, is to effectuate the intent of what was decided 5 years ago, and to allow the funds that were collected to go where they were intended to go, which is to the construction of the schools. We are not approving a new impact fee. We're not approving an increase in a fee. We're not extending collection time for a fee. We're not increasing the amount of money that can be collected. In fact, this amendment does identify an end date for this impact fee in June of 2025, which was not in there before. So the only thing that we are really doing tonight is to allow an amendment of the plan to update the school projects that are in the plan to allow the money to go where it was originally intended. That will help the taxpayers, which ultimately our job is to protect the taxpayers. And that is where my vote is, Mr. Winkler.
I just have one quick clarifying question, because it just looks a little strange to me, but in the bottom of the motion, the last paragraph, Mr. Kendry, that date, calculated November 29th, 2002, that is correct date?
No, that is not the correct date. The date should be 2022.
Okay. I thought that did not look right.
I would ask council to correct that Scrivener's error before the vote.
So the mover and the individual who seconded, do you agree with the amendment to reflect that change?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So amended. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Council to authorize and approve the execution of the intergovernmental agreement between York County, South Carolina and Fort Mill School District, number 4 of York County, in substantial form as presented to council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Now that we've concluded those comments, I do think it's important and just to ask management, what is your position? I mean, council has already acted on this, but I would like to have your comments on the record about what we're doing here tonight.
I'll speak on my behalf, and then Dave can talk. I guess I 100% support the action council took on the impact fee. The Fort Mill School District is very unique from north to south, east to west. You've got exactly the same thing. There's no low-income housing up there. And the businesses in that area in particular need tax relief, and this does afford that.
Thank you, sir. Next item, council to authorize negotiation on potential sole source construction project.
Do you need executive session? Yeah. I move to go into executive session for the receipt of legal advice relating to this contractual matter, specifically the potential sole source construction project.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will go into executive session. We are out of executive session. No action was taken. Do we have any motions?
We have one motion, that is to authorize negotiation on the potential sole source construction project as we discussed in executive session.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.